the Red Sea. Tensions are mounting in the Red Sea after attacks by Houthis and counterstrikes by the United States. In the latest event, Houthi rebels have struck a US-owned ship off the coast of Yemen in the Gulf of Aden. Remember, after forming a joint patrol force, US and British forces upped the ante last week, carrying out dozens of strikes on Houthi targets. US officials said that the strikes had significantly dented the Houthis' capacity, diminishing their ability to fire missiles and launch drones. On the other side, Houthis have been clear that they have no intentions of stopping until Israel ends its war. Meanwhile, the US has claimed seizure of Iranian weapons bound for Yemen's Houthis. Despite supporting the Houthi campaign rhetorically, Iran has staunchly denied Washington's allegations that it is providing the Yemeni rebel group with weapons and tactical intelligence. While tensions at the Red Sea have been escalating, global supply chains have also been disrupted. Traffic through the Red Sea is down by over 40%. Some of the world's largest shipping operators have redirected their vessels as well. The longer the disruptions continue, the greater the repercussions might be. We bring you more.
The crisis in the Red Sea looks set to deepen after Houthi militants said they had started targeting US ships. A spokesman for the militant group said Monday they had already hit one such cargo vessel. That came after a US military spokesman said earlier that a US-owned freighter had been struck by a missile. No injuries or significant damage were reported. The Houthis have been targeting vessels in the region since November, focusing on ones they say have a connection to Israel. They say that's in solidarity with Palestinian Islamists Hamas over the conflict in Gaza. The Houthis say US and British ships have become legitimate targets following strikes on Yemen by the two countries last week. Now there are signs that the crisis is causing mounting trouble for shipping and all the firms that rely on it. On Monday, more oil tankers altered course or paused their journeys to avoid the region. That threatens to delay or disrupt crude shipments, though the impact on prices has so far been modest. On Tuesday, oil traded slightly lower, as traders balanced the Red Sea concerns against worries that weak global demand could sap prices. Some tankers carrying Qatari natural gas towards the Suez Canal also paused their journeys, though they appeared to be back on course by Tuesday. The impact on container shipping has been more marked, with many vessels moved to safer but much longer routes. Car makers Tesla, Suzuki and Volvo have already warned that they will have to curb some output as a result, due to parts not arriving in time.
LNG is, as any other, we see like it's the most dangerous escalation right now because it's not affecting only the region, it's affecting the global trade as well. Now we see that there are some retaliations from the US and UK on the Houthis, trying to refrain them from disrupting the international trade, but yet this is also will create a high risk of further escalation and further expansion of that. We always prefer diplomacy over any military resolutions, and we believe that we shouldn't just focus on those small conflicts. We should focus on the main conflict in Gaza, and as soon as it's diffused, I believe everything else will be diffused. Whatever disagreements, whatever we see, those are part of the Palestinian political system, and the Palestinian people, those are the only ones who have the choice to have them as part of the resolution or not. It's not our choice, nor the Israelis or anyone's choice. It's, you know, at the end, we always say that you cannot, if there is a difference and disagreement in the ideology, of course, I mean, the conduct is something else, then you have to replace it with a better idea. And the better idea is to bring the two-state solution back on the table. And we see a growing recognition now by a lot of our partners internationally. Of course, we hear a lot from the US now about the necessity of having this on track as soon as possible. And this is very important. US is playing a key role in this, a central role in this, and they can we believe that they can bring the parties back together.
Since the 19th of November, Iran-backed Houthis have launched over 25 illegal and unacceptable attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. And on the 9th of January, they mounted a direct attack against British and American warships. They fired on our ships and our sailors. It was the biggest attack on the Royal Navy for decades. And so we acted. We did so in self-defense, consistent with the UN Charter, and to uphold freedom of navigation, as Britain has always done. Alongside the United States, with support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands, we ordered the RAF to strike 2 Houthi military facilities in Yemen. I want to be clear that these were limited strikes. They were carefully targeted at launch sites for drones and ballistic missiles to degrade the Houthis' capacity to make further attacks on international shipping.
Say again?
Are we a de facto proxy war?
No. Iran does not want to war with us.
Are you going to call Houthis a terrorist group, sir?
I think they are.
Were the strikes successful last night, sir?
Yes. I don't think there's any civilian casualties. That's another reason why it's a success. It's irrelevant whether they're designated. We've put together a group of nations that are going to say that if they continue to act and behave as they do, we'll respond.
Shipping companies will not rush back to the Red Sea. As a matter of fact, the news just came out that 4 tankers decided to avoid the area because of the strikes from the US and the UK last night. And it is also a reasonable assumption that just because of the strikes on the Houthis in Yemen, the atrocities in the Red Sea will not stop. Actually, they will intensify, in my opinion. But if the dust settles and there is no further escalation, and by further escalation, I mean there are no additional strikes from the UK and the US on the rebels who are based in Yemen, or there is no, again, actual supply disruption, then anyone who went home thinking that the situation might escalate over the weekend might just conclude that it is time to take profit and maybe the market will come lower. Uncertainty is the key word here. It is just simply impossible to come up with a reliable and well-founded predictions because these just do not exist.
Tesla is halting most output at its big factory in Germany. The EV maker says it's running short of parts due to the chaos in global shipping sparked by attacks in the Red Sea. Yemen's Houthi militants have been targeting vessels there for weeks. They say it's in support of Palestinian Islamist group Hamas in its conflict with Israel. Major shipping firms have had to put vessels on safer but much longer routes as a result, delaying deliveries. Container giant Maersk says it expects the rerouting to persist for the foreseeable future. Now Tesla is the first major firm to disclose an interruption to output. It says production in Berlin will stop from January 29th to February 11th. Analysts say Tesla relies heavily on batteries from China, which are shipped through the Red Sea. They say other automakers seem sure to face disruption, given the dependence on parts from Asia. For Tesla, it all adds to difficulties as it fights a labour dispute with a Swedish union. That has led to sympathy strikes across the Nordic region, including at a Norwegian parts supplier. On Thursday, the firm didn't give any detail on how many components were missing or how it would restore production.